Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today we're going to take a look at something very special, and that is the art of Rodger B. MacGowan. This is a new art book that is now out by RBM Studios, and they sent me a copy, which I am so thankful for, because this is something I was really excited about, because Rodger's just an amazing artist and his work is so embedded in our DNA as wargamers. All of these covers that he's done throughout the decades that we've grown up with are just part of who we are and part of what this hobby's all about. And one of my favorite covers is right here on the cover, and that is from Red Army, along with all of the other great covers that are out there. So we're going to take a look through this and see all the beauty that's inside here. We start off with the table of contents listing out all the different sections and their page numbers. On the left-hand side, he's got a nice dedication to his parents, as well as his wife and son. And we start off with the forward, and this is another thing about this. It's not just a big, nice coffee table book that you can put down and get a good conversation started about our hobby with people that may not be familiar with it. It's also got a lot of great articles, and you know, it makes me laugh to think about it, but it's like the old thing about back in the day, people say, I get Playboy for the articles. Well, you can get this for the art and the articles. There's a lot of great of both inside, and there's a lot of great snippets, a lot of great history. Like, for example, here you've got RBM Graphics and Design. This is the first business card. It's a pen and ink illustration that Rodger did in 1973, and then you have RBM Studios here, Vertex Magazine, People's Park, Landing Party, The Seedlings, North Shields Triumvirate. Then we get into the Fire and Movement magazine, the Forum of Conflict Simulation. Got Close-Up Tobruk, Close-Up Chinese Farm in Golan. Then you have Rodger up there at his desk doing art the old-fashioned way with pen and ink. Squad Leader, next war covers for Fire and Movement. The Russian Campaign, one of the most famous covers there is in our hobby. You've got all the different panels here, the drawings for each of those. He said, for the first time on a war game box cover, the Russian forces are depicted and are the focus of my cover design. I used a pen and ink stippling drawing technique in which areas of light and shadow are created using nothing but dots, and that's a really cool effect, which now you can do just with the click of a button in all of the digital art programs that are today. So it's really great to see the old hand-drawn art like Squad Leader, some of the most iconic covers ever. And you've got the original drawing here for the game of infantry combat in World War II. And we have some of the scenario card art on the right-hand side. Citadel, Battle of Dien Bien Phu, Anzio, Burma, and this is a fantastic cover too. This is one of the things that I really like about Rodger's covers, especially when they're simplistic like this, when it's just a person looking at you, or maybe two people looking at you while they're in the middle of combat, or this guy's not in the middle of combat, he's headed towards combat, but you can see the determination, the tiredness, everything just on his face. He really captures that human essence, which I think is fantastic about his art. Rommel in Tunisia, Panzerkrieg, Cross of Iron, another iconic Squad Leader cover. Flat Top, Red Star, White Eagle, which was also in C3I, White Death, Veliki Luki, the Stalingrad of the North, and then Panzer, the original tactical game, armored tactical game. Jack Rady's Course in Pocket, The Longest Day. I thought this was an interesting little snippet here. This was something that had to be done pretty quickly, so he drew up the art, and they were kind of on a time crunch. Sent it over to get it printed, and he suggested maybe they put one flat color over top, because all it was just a standard pen and ink drawing. And they did. They went with red, and the red was a fantastic contrast to the art that was provided, and you can see it just gives you a really, really cool cover that is really evocative of D-Day. The General magazine covers, The Rise and Decline of the Third Reich, Crescendo of Doom, another Squad Leader gamette, Civilization, Beachhead, and this is something you're going to see again. This is also the same art that was used for the cover of Operation Shoestring, which was one of the first GMT games that came out in 1990. And this is, I love this art too. Obviously, it's about the Marines, so of course I'm going to love the art, but I like how he's, in some instances, repurposes some art changes some things up to give it a little bit of a different feel, but you still get that same initial feel to it, and it's just great to see those pieces of art continue on. 88, Armor, 1980. Jihad, that's another striking cover right there. There we go right there, Red Army, Destruction of Army Group Center, just a fantastic cover. I just really love the way it looks on the box, and it looks great here too as well. And that was a game by GDW, and it's an old classic. 1815, Waterloo Campaign. There's another one right here, Norway 1940, The Kriegsmarine Strikes. That's a beautiful cover, as is Iron Bottom Sound. Just really beautiful covers. I love the fact that he's capturing the action of the ships at sea, and then as well as the commanders in charge and their national flag behind them. French Foreign Legion, Operation Market Garden. This is another one of them that I really, really love, and this is the Battle for Stalingrad from SPI. This goes back to what I was saying before about capturing that human essence. You've got these two guys, these two machine gunners that are getting the work, and you can see the look on their face. The A gunner right there, he's just feeding the ammo, and he's looking ahead while the machine gunner is just concentrating on targets. The city's burning behind them as this desperate battle unfolds, and it's just captured so beautifully here in this one little vignette of the overall battle. Then we have Assault on Leningrad, Road to the Rhine, Narvik, Air War 1983, that's a cool one as well. Bitter End, that's another great one. Pacific Fleet, Lawrence of Arabia, whole bunch of tactics covers. And then, of course, up front, love that sketch. Panzer Group Guderian, Dark Crusade. Now, this is a neat little piece here, Talon 2233. We all are very familiar with Space Empires 4X, and then the tactical game Talon, which comes from that. This is going to give you the backstory as to how this all came about. And the interesting thing is, Mr. Koichi Sato, the president of Hobby Japan, had come to Rodger, and this is in 1984, and Mr. Sato wanted to discuss something with Rodger. He comes in, he shows him these publications that are all about Star Wars, and he says to Rodger, hey, I want you to create me a franchise like Star Wars. You know, no pressure, just get one of the biggest money-making machines on the planet and create something like that for me, and you have 6 weeks. So Rodger sets about doing this in this very compressed bit of time to create this world, this backstory, this pitch that he has to bring to Hobby Japan. And that's what this is all about right here. It's a great little piece that is just a fantastic little read. And it's great to see where the art, for which eventually became used in Space Empires 4X, where it comes from and the history behind that. I thought that was really cool. Another awesome cover, Assault. And then ASL, of course, World in Flames, two big covers right there. War to End Wars, Custer's Luck, which wasn't too lucky. Whole bunch of Wargamer covers. Fire in the East, WBC, Battle Cry. Now remember, before we looked at that Burma cover, it was early on in the book. I'll see if I can find it. I may not. Yep, there it is right there. You have the Burma cover from GDW. Well, you can see, gets repurposed for Battle Cry, and now it's all in full color. And again, it's really evocative of the emotions that this Marine is feeling. And I just love that bit of Rodger's art where it draws you in. Just even with one person, I think that's really cool. Case White, which is part of the Europa series. Sniper, another great cover. Strategy and Tactics using the Assault cover. Pegasus Bridge, Samurai Sunset, Operation Shoestring, which we talked about earlier. And then, of course, you got Silver Bayonet, which I love the original cover. I also love the updated cover with the picture of Rick Rescorla. But this is just so cool. Those slicks just flying nap of the earth over the treetops, heading into the LZ. I just think it's so cool as the sun sets or the sun's rising, whichever way you want to look at it. I think that's just a beautiful and a really dramatic cover. Hornet Leader, which we're familiar with the DVG Leader games. Then we have the GBOH series, Great Battles of Alexander, and then Crisis Korea 1995, which then inspired the Next War series. A couple more SBQR, Great Battles of History. Then we get into C3I, which is Rodger's magazine that covers all the GMT games, gets you all those little extras, the games, as well as some extra counters, errata counters, things like that. Battle for Kursk, Fire in a Lake, number 27, C3I number 27. Lion of the North, The Rise of the Luftwaffe. For Down in Flames, Battles of Waterloo. And we have Caesar, Britain Stands Alone. Typhoon, The Drive on Moscow, 1941. Ukraine 43. One of the covers that I really like that seems, when you look at it, a little sparse because the picture is just on the top, but great game and a fantastic cover. Brandywine, another fantastic cover that I've always really, really liked. Wilderness War and the art from the counters in there. Kazarine, Clash of Giants. World War II, Barbarossa to Berlin. There's a lot to take in on that cover. There's all these different panels on the different rows that you can look through, which I think is really cool. It tells kind of a collage of a different story throughout the whole thing. They have Ardennes 44, Battle of the Bulge. Streets of Stalingrad, another one that has a lot going on it. And it just seems, I've always thought this was a really cool cover because it seems stark and just kind of a sense of dread to it, which is what was going on in the Battle of Stalingrad. It was just such a brutal battle for not only the two sides fighting, the Germans and the Russians, also the people that were in the city of Stalingrad. Sword of Rome, Downtown, Conquest 2004, Roads to Leningrad, Battles of Salsian Staraya, Russia. Empire of the Sun, another iconic cover. You got those zeros flying as the sun is rising, a rising sun, perfect to tie into the Japanese military attacking the U.S. in the Pacific. And you have Combat Commander Europe, Commanding Colors Ancients, Pacific Typhoon, that's another fantastic one right there. See all that action going on. You have the holes in the flat top beneath, the planes flying overhead, Elusive Victory. And then we have Space Empires 4X again. And remember that art that we looked at before for Talon? Here it is, fleshed out for Space Empires 4X. Then a Retreat series, Panzer. Next War Korea, remember we looked at Crisis Korea. That is the next level was taken when it went to the next war. Mitch took over that. And then we have Distant Plain, France 40, Fire in the Lake, very similar to what we saw with the original Silver Bayonet. All the different covers for Panzer, all the expansions. Churchill, some more next war titles. And there's India Pakistan, which is now coming out with a second edition. So those of you who have been really wanting to get a copy of India Pakistan, you don't have to pay those massive aftermarket prices anymore. Now you can get your order in on the P500. It'll probably take a while to get there, but definitely worth getting a copy of it because fantastic game, outstanding system. And we continue on with all of these GMT titles that Rodger's done. Men of Iron, Infidel, Blood and Roses, just fantastic cover on that one. Last 100 Yards. The Forever War expansion for Labyrinth. Imperial Struggle, The Great War. Russian Campaign, the redo that was done. The deluxe 5th edition that had pretty much everything and the kitchen sink thrown in. And then we have the appendices here at the back that break down all of the different pieces of art according to their year and also the publisher of the game. Get some more thumbnail pictures down here at the bottom. Red Winter from GMT, Fire Movement, Ancients, Empire of the Sun, Fighting Formations, Pursuit of Glory, another Panzer cover. And there's the updated version of Silver Bayonet for the 25th anniversary edition. I love that cover too, but I really think the original cover is also fantastic as well. Tigers in the Mist, another great little cover. Fun game. Then we have Appendix C, the early years. Classroom studio work, 1966 to 1968. I thought this was real interesting because this is high school. And you can see already the maturity of his art because he's capturing the starkness of these situations that these people are in. You've got this barbed wire, you got this person laying out here, you got another one, the Sentry it's called. This is University Art Studio work. It's just you feel very alone, you feel isolated, forgotten almost, and that is the lone sentry that is keeping the wolves at the door and protecting us. Then we have Transfiguration and Loss, the Tet Offensive, 1968, Maricosta College. That's a really cool piece of art on both of those. Out of the Past. Then we have Mankind Magazine, some more really interesting art. Projects for Entertainment, Business, and Higher Education. Cal State Northridge, Lucky Nugget Saloon. And this right here is a photograph that he had done that was actually used in the movie Straw Dogs as a piece of background art. So I think that's really cool to have a piece of your art used in the backdrop of a movie set. So fantastic for Rodger to have that. And then you've got some really cool pictures of Rodger through the years here to finish out the book. And then we are at the back of the book, but just an amazing journey through a fantastic career and so many iconic pieces of art. So many great covers from Rodger. It's a big, beautiful book. As you can see, this is roughly about 10 by 13. And I think this is going to make for an interesting conversation starter. Like I said before, you can take this, put it down as a cocktail table or coffee table book, have it out there, and, friends are over. Maybe they're not into war games, but they'll say, "What's this?" And they start reading through it and reading the little stories and then looking at the art. Who knows? It may get them interested and start up a conversation about wargaming, and that's where you can kind of try to introduce our hobby to your friends that may not even consider wargaming or don't even know you wargame. Be a great way to break that ice and get them talking about the subject of wargaming. Like I said before, this is now available from RBM Studios. I'm going to be posting a link down below for this, and I strongly recommend anyone who is a fan of Rodger's work, go check this out. You've seen the bulk of the book already, and it's going to look really cool, but it doesn't do it justice till you're holding it in your hands. It really is just a fantastic book, and it's a fantastic time machine through history because looking at it, I know when you're watching a video, I'm sure you got hit with some of those memories, seeing covers that you saw when you were younger. Maybe it was a game that your friend had or you got as a gift or you saw on the store shelf and you were saving up your allowance money or your paper route money or your fast food money or whatever it was, whatever job you had to get the money to be able to buy those games. And you have all that here, all encapsulated in one fantastic book. And I think RBM Studios did an amazing job on this, and it's a great look back on a fantastic artist's life and all of the contributions he's made to our wargaming hobby. Well, I hope that helps you guys out if you'd be curious about this book. If you have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.